Hello, guys, and welcome to the next episode of the podcast Deep Talks. My today's guest is Topp. Hi, and welcome.
Hey, Peter, nice to meet you.
What a pleasure to have you as a guest of my podcast and being here in Thailand, in Bangkok, to record an episode with you. For a little introduction, so you're a successful entrepreneur. You are founder and CEO of the company Bitkub. We are here in this beautiful place in these beautiful offices. And you started when you were 23 years old.
Yeah.
So now it's almost 10 years that you are in a business of cryptocurrencies. Let me ask you, like the last year was very challenging, right? For crypto markets.
Very tough, yes.
So how you stay positive, and what do you do for your mental resilience?
Last year was tough, but it's not the toughest year that we have been through in the past. Partly we were lucky because we were compliant from day one. We run a proper regulated exchange. We have a proper license, and we in Thailand, and we don't cut corners. So we weren't impacted by the dominoes, the black swan that occurred last year.
You mean FTX?
Yeah, FTX, Luna, and all these dominoes. It was a black swan, right?
Right.
We did not get impacted directly because we did not cut corners. And most of the some of the exchanges did not survive, unfortunately, last year. But in a way, we got impacted indirectly because the revenue has dropped a lot, and also we are entering a recession, right? The US is sucking up liquidity, increasing the interest rates. The company's been growing at 1,000% in the first 3 years, and 2,000% in the fourth year. It was the peak year.
In those 3 years, you became a unicorn, right?
We were the first Thai fintech unicorn. But last year was the first ever year that we had to optimize our costs and reduce our team members. It was a tough decision. Right?
Yeah.
We were still profitable, but the profit margin has dropped a lot. But we had to optimize together with the industry. Everybody is now like cutting cost, reducing like variable cost, fixed cost, trying to run the company in a sustainable manner, and we were one of them. And it was a tough decision to let go of our team.
Was it a humbling experience for you?
It's one of the toughest things that we had to do, as a CEO. Very hard to execute. Easier said, than done or execute. It's unfortunate, but we had to do it for the sustainability of the company.
Tell me, like FTX Collapse, it was November 2022, right?
Yeah.
So what has changed since then in terms of mindset of investors, in terms of those government regulations?
We see a clear trend that before the FTX, before the black swan, there were two strategies in operating an exchange business. The first strategy is to move fast, break things, and then apologize later. The unregulated players. And then we have this, complying from day one, steady, slow but sure, not cutting any corners.
That was your case, right?
The regulated exchanges. And we see clearly that everywhere around the world, we are moving towards regulated exchanges. So we were right with our strategy. And it's better to never cut corners when you're doing a financial company or when you run a financial business, right? It's not like selling t-shirts online and you lose a t-shirt. It's things will come back and bite you later if you cut corners, and it's not worth it. Right? It's going to be way more expensive to fix than be compliant from day one. So we were right. We were one of the few handful of exchanges that survived and foster in line with where the world is heading.
And what are some key lessons from the collapse of FTX that the whole market should understand now?
We need standardization on governance, standardization on regulations, because otherwise there'll be a regulation arbitrage, right? Where you operate out of nowhere and serve customers from another country. We call it regulatory arbitrage. We need standardization to make sure that the quality of each regulated exchanges and unregulated exchanges meet the minimum threshold to be stable, to be sustainable, to be a reliable digital infrastructure for the customers. And we are almost becoming a CII of the country. Like CII stands for Country's Critical Information Infrastructure, meaning that if anything happens to the exchange, it could create a systematic risk to the Thai economy. Right? So we have to make sure we run the exchange on full transparency, on good CG, corporate governance, on good proper regulations. So we need to standardize these areas across the world.
So let me ask you like directly about some like Manfred. Was he like a bad apple, or was it a systemic problem? So what do you think in person? Like what is your opinion on the case?
I mean, FTX was huge. It created a dominoes impact, right? Or since Luna. But it doesn't mean that the technology itself has a flaw. Blockchain is still running perfectly.
Of course, right.
Transactions are increasing every year. The decentralization power of the miners are more decentralized each year that we move forward. The system is more stable than ever. There's still no issues with the blockchain system, but
I still believe in blockchain too and Bitcoin, because I have most of my investments there too. So we're on the same side.
So we have to separate the layers between the application layer and the protocol layer. FTX issue was at the application layer. I guess the best analogy to explain to the audience is, imagine if there's one local bank that cut corners. Right? For example, that the bank may not put a security guard in front of the door.
Right.
And then, or there's an internal fraud within that branch. It doesn't mean that the dollar system has problems. Many other bank branches are still operating okay without issues. It's just one bad apple, one bad institution, company that cut corners, that did not do things properly. It doesn't mean the whole technology has flaws.
Right. So what is your view about the future? What are your predictions about the whole crypto market, and what do you think that is going to happen in upcoming years?
Well, we operate in a seasonal business. It's a cyclical business. Once every 4 years, usually there is a golden year, right after the Bitcoin halving. And my prediction would be, I've been in this space for 9 years and 9 months, to be exact. I have witnessed 3 cycles already, and it happens every time, once every 4 years. There is a golden year.
So the golden year is coming?
Yes. So if you look at the history, right, the 2013, 2017, 2021, and the next cycle is 2024 onwards. And my prediction would be that the next wave would be driven by institutional money, institutional investors, like BlackRock of the world. They're filing ETFs. DBS is creating like custody solution infrastructure, so that real deal, like real money, can enter the space legitimately.
Okay.
And we're not talking about like small retail money here. We're talking about like institutional money. And Bitcoin could be the first world. It is already, right, becoming the first world ever digital, international digital asset.
And how about the mindset of investors? Are they getting calmer after the FTX? Because they were a lot of like spooked, right? So are they getting calmer?
For me, it's normal. It's the cycle. You know, in 2000, I still remember 2017.
Right.
Boom, right?
Yeah.
And then when there was a bust.
Yeah, I just bought some Bitcoin just few weeks before, so I remember that very very deeply.
Yeah, and many of the non-believers left the industry, and people thought that Bitcoin has died.
Yes.
And that's the end of everything.
And then another golden era.
Yeah, another golden era, 2021, the DeFi boom. The previous one was the ICO boom. Same with the first ever cycle, the 2013, the Mt. Gox era.
Yeah.
The Mt. Gox was like the previous FTX.
Right. Yeah.
You know, bursted and the whole thing went down, and people thought Bitcoin was a Ponzi scheme, scams, drug money. You know, don't go anywhere near it. There was a, you know, it has been this same cycle 3 times now. The golden year, and then 3 years of winter, 3 years of disbeliefs, 3 years of like, I don't know, drug money, you know, Ponzi scheme.
Yes.
It always these words always pop up during the winter, and then boom, there's another golden year. Right.
So many new government regulations all around the world, right? So is the whole market going to be similar to like standard bank market?
Eventually, we need standardization on governance, standardization on transparency. You know, even on scalability of technology, we need standardization on that, right? And standardization on the regulations around the world too, so that we create a global system of digital assets with full interoperability of, you know, value that can move freely in a frictionless manner and in a regulated, you know, compliance manner.
So let me ask you, like Bitcoin started as something like outside of the system, right? And now those regulations are like getting the whole system very similar to the standard system again. So what do you think? Is it a good thing for the whole system to be more standardized for all of us, or are there some like groups of people that don't benefit from being that much standardized?
I mean,
because those like, I mean, the free spirits, the people that believe that Bitcoin will like take the power from big corporations, and now it's getting back. So what do you think about this?
Well, if you ask about the key objectives first, right? If the key objective is for mass adoption,
yes,
then we have to move this way, right? But for niche market, you don't need standardization of regulation. But if you want a real like mass adoption, we need to have, you know, we need to put Bitcoin not in a gray zone, not in a black zone, but in a legitimate zone. We need to find a middle ground that the old world is happy, that the new world is happy. What is that sweet spot? Right? That's what standardization is about. We have to work together, right, in finding this equilibrium in order to scale. Otherwise, Bitcoin adoption will not have mass adoption if we cannot fix issues on regulations, transparency, governance. And same with any technology. They all started from outside.
Yes,
you know,
from the punk mode.
Outside in. Right?
Yeah.
They started from like unregulated, because regulation always play a catch-up game to technology, and regulation should not front run technology. Right? You should find this middle ground.
Right. And we are recording this episode in 2023, in the year that there were many big innovations in the era in the field of artificial intelligence. So, what is your prediction about AI? Do you see any risks? Because you are able to predict the success of crypto, but what do you think about AI?
AI is going to be super huge. I'm one of the people that underestimated the impact of AI. Next year is going to be the AI year too.
Maybe the whole era, like the whole upcoming decades, right?
The whole new internet again. AI will democratize all the technical abilities. So we can code, faster. We can write faster. We can, create movies, music, all the technical abilities. We can democratize them, and people can achieve miracles with AI. I'm sure it will be one of the world's changing technology. By the way, AI and blockchain, big data, 3D printing, these are all part of the fourth industrial revolution technology.
Yeah. And luckily we live in this beautiful era, right? So
and personally, I believe that in the next 10 years, the premium that derives from the latest group of technology, the fourth industrial revolution technology, will be more than the previous 50 years combined worth of premium that were generated from traditional sector.
Yeah.
Right. The changes that will happen in the next 10 years will be more than 50 years, previous years combined.
It happened in 20th century too, right? Because those innovation in the last 100 years were some larger than all those innovations before. And now we can experience the same in 10 or maybe 15 years.
Except the curve is steeper.
Yeah. So the exponential growth is steeper. Yeah. So do you see any risks there with AI?
Yes. With any new technology, there are always new risks. For example, with the generative AI, there's this experiment actually where they put a man into an MRI machine in a hospital, and they stick a picture under the tunnel so that he can see.
Oh yeah, I wrote it. Yes.
So that experiment, right? And they asked the AI to scan the prefrontal cortex and the limbic brain. By having the guy looking at the photo, the AI can tell exactly that he's looking at a giraffe photo eating leaves on the tree without looking at the photo, meaning that we're entering an era where this is real serious, like mind reading ability.
Right. Yeah.
Right. We just finished the PDPA regulations on privacy, and this is like, do you need to ask for my permission first to read my mind?
Yeah.
To read what I think. This is like serious risk, and I'm sure regulations would play a catch-up game.
Again, because for example, in the European Union, we are still discussing some regulations about social networks, and with AI, I don't believe that the government will be that quick.
Yeah, and government failed on the previous election with the social network impacting the election results. Cambridge Analytica, right?
Of course.
In the next 4 years, I think this is the last year that the president or the prime ministers are selected by human. In the next 4 years, those who control the most AI power would be the next PM, would be the next prime minister or the president.
Wow.
Because we're talking about the race to the intimacy now with the generative AI. We're not talking about the race for attention. For social media, it was the race for the attention to the bottom of the brainstem. But this time, it's a race for the intimacy. It's brainwashing. Yeah. It's fake everything. These are the risks that are coming with the new AI.
Yeah. Recently, my Facebook and Instagram feed is full of fake AI-generated content, and it has like hundreds of thousands of likes and shares, and people don't know that it's AI-generated already. So it's that perfect already.
Yeah, and if you ask, this is another experiment. If you ask AI to listen to someone else speak for 3 seconds, the AI can pretend to be that person with the same voice. Right?
Yes.
And with the filter, AI filter, everybody can now be Donald Trump and be Putin. And, it's a fake everything. Yes. Nobody knows what's the truth anymore.
Because with misinformation, as you mentioned, Cambridge Analytica was able to influence decision making of people, and now with those other elections everywhere around the globe, you see that there was a huge impact of misinformation, fake news. But with AI, it will be even worse. You will have misinformation on steroids. So what we can do with that? I'm truly scared. For me, this is not a positive future.
Yeah. And in the previous social network era, they only used the ranking or curated AI. They were convincing people by showing what they want to see.
Yes.
It created the polarization, right? Reinforcing their own beliefs. But in the new generation of the new AI, the generative AI, it's not an attention race. It's a legit intimacy race, meaning that there's this machine learning and large language models, meaning that for example, Snapchat is launching an AI chatbot, right? Imagine your daughter at midnight, all her friends went to bed, she wants to talk to someone, and the AI, have you played this persuasion game where you're trying to defeat the other opponents by using his or her own logic to change her or his or her own mind? And AI are very good at recognizing patterns.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not just showing what they want to see now. The new AI can change the previous beliefs by using their own logic, his or her own logic, right, to counter the arguments and into believing in the opposite's ideology. So,
and the technology is already there, so it's only a matter of time, right? When someone uses this against the standard democratic system in West.
And in the West, it might be seems like impossible or far-fetched. But if you look at Japan, they are living in a lonely society.
Yeah.
Right? They live at home alone, and there's this Gatebox. It's a software. It's like an AI girlfriend now.
Oh.
Right. And with the IoT, Internet of Things, which is another pillar of the fourth industrial revolution technology. Right. Your home would be light up in the morning. The AI would be chatting with you on the way to work.
I don't think chatting like this. You will be chatting like this with AI, right?
In the future, like future
or
glasses,
with your
right?
thoughts. Oh. Yeah. Because now, as you mentioned, the AI is able to read your thoughts. So maybe even without chatting like this or talking.
Yeah. Ray-Ban glasses compatible with Facebook on Metaverse, right? Neuralink.
Yeah.
And on the way to work, she would be saying things that makes your heart beat faster, versus human girlfriend that has flaws and make your heart beat slower. Who would you believe, right? Who would you want to chat with? Obviously, Japanese, lonely guy would be, talking to AI girlfriend.
And it will be the best girlfriend because she will know exactly what to tell him to increase his serotonin and dopamine level.
Yeah.
And
imagine who controls that Gatebox can tell the AI girlfriend to convince him to go vote for this person.
Yeah. And we are there, right? So it's not science fiction. It's like real world outside. So what do you think, like in your life, do you use those AI tools like ChatGPT on a daily basis?
We actually create another company called Bitkub AI.
Okay.
And we want to provide this service, the Thai GPT.
Okay.
To all the conglomerates, corporations here to reduce cost, increase efficiency. We even are planning to use our own AI to automate the customer support.
Okay. But then there's a dystopia that is described by Yuval Noah Harari, author of many bestsellers like Sapiens and Homo Deus. And what he describing is baseless, what he calls useless class, a group of people that will lose jobs because of AI, and AI will be faster, quicker, better than them. And they will not just lose their jobs, but they will lose their self-esteem. So what is your prediction about the whole workspace with AI?
There used to be a job in the UK that he or she must wake up before everyone else's with a long stick and knock on everyone's window to wake people up before the invention of the alarm clock.
Yes.
Right. Obviously, he or she did lose self-esteem once we invented alarm clock, right? But then he or she would have to upskill themselves, and
But back then you have a lot of time for rescaling.
Back
now,
then, yes,
it's much quicker. So there will be like truly millions, maybe tens, hundreds of millions of people, and we will need to rescale them very quickly. So that's maybe the difference.
But the premium generated from automation would be enough to feed everybody.
Okay.
Right. Versus the previous generation, when the premium generated from technology is not as much. Productivity, right, per capita derived from new technology would outweigh, would be more sufficient to feed the people. So people need to work less and less. For example, look at our parents' generation, to achieve something, they need to work like all their life to achieve it. For us, we leverage on technology to achieve the same results, and now we have more free time.
But still, we are working 12 hours a day, right?
I think the best way is to look at the history. When we started from this agriculture space, then we have this agriculture revolution. Then people have the premium. We have more, rise, more output with technology deployed on the input, productivity increase. But at the same time, we have more free time. And once we have more free time, we jumpstart a new sector called the manufacturing revolution. And when machines are smarter, during the Industrial Revolution, the machines can lift heavier things than human, and more muscle power. Then we're able to generate even more premium, higher productivity per capita by deploying leverage on technology. Then we have more free time. And when people have more free time, they jumpstart the service sector. But now with AI or the fourth industrial revolution technology, they are replacing the white collar, straightforward labor versus the previous, blue collar, straightforward labor that the previous revolution, industrial revolution replaces, right? So now we're gonna have more premium because AI can work 24/7. It doesn't need payroll, doesn't need to eat. Obviously, we're gonna have more output. All the services price would go towards zero, just like all the goods around the world. All the things are getting cheaper and cheaper because the machines are more productive, right? So same with services around the world. The price of each of the services would go to zero because AI doesn't need payroll, right? And it can work 24/7. Then once we have more free time, humans would jumpstart a new sector apart from going from service to the intelligent economy, right? We jump from agriculture, like primary economy, to a secondary economy, manufacturing, to a tertiary economy, which is like servicing. Now we are moving towards an intelligent economy, right?
Okay.
So we will have more free time to jumpstart new sector.
But still, I completely understand that we will experience the growth of the wealth around the globe, but still the wealth will be in hands of few companies again.
Yeah.
And how we can deliver the wealth to average people? Like, do you think that we need to tax AI somehow and to give people some basic income, or what do you think about this?
So now we're entering the economics, right? We need to redefine social contracts. Right? The current social contract is no longer feasible in the current era because there are a few major changes in the environment. First, we live longer.
Yes.
Right. Before, we used to study 3 years of university. That would be sufficient to put us to work for 30 years. But now when we live longer, traditional education is no longer sufficient. Right? 3 years of education will not prepare us to work for 50 or 70 years of work. So we need to upskill. Right? So apart from that, right, since people live longer, we need to redefine social contract on how the younger generation would feed the older generation. How do you make this model sustainable? Right? How do you value like current consumption versus future consumption? Right. Would the current generation, the lives of the current generation be worth more than the future generation? It's economics debate.
Yes.
And the second issue is women. Now women with the equality, inclusion, putting in place. Now women are not living at home and doing housework, right? They have same, if not more, abilities, right, to go out and lead the family, have a proper job. So we need to also redefine gender or social contract on this area as well. Third is technology is changing the way we work. Right? Now we have remote first company. People can work anywhere, anytime. Now there are new waves of nano entrepreneurs where in the previous era you used to work for one company for the rest of your lives, and in the current era you can work you can change places once every 2 years. But in the future, nano entrepreneurship is when you sit on a beach and you just connect to the internet and you serve 10 companies at the same time, doing nano contract,
Right.
charging like $5 per contract, doing nano, contract, and you can receive payments now in cryptocurrency because it allows micro payments to happen for the first time in human history. You cannot, wire traditional payments you cannot achieve micro payments with traditional payment infrastructure.
And let me ask you, like, if you were back in your 20s, what skills would you learn, or what are those most important skills for the future workspace?
If I could go back in time, or if to look forward, because there's different skill sets.
In your 20s now, what should you learn?
Actually, I'm part of the World Economic Forum. We're a member, and I'm part of the Future of Education Forum.
Oh, that's great.
As well. So they were saying interesting, like a few points. They said that in the next 5 years, 44% of our current skill set will become obsolete.
Right. Yes.
All right. And by 2030, like 7 years from now, one third of the population would have to go back to school, reskill, upskill. And they redefine the new skill taxonomy.
Mm-hmm.
And most of them are tailored towards soft skills.
Soft skills, right?
Not hard skill. Because AI and the technology can do much better than us on hard skills. Right? They can automate many of the hard skills, democratize many of the hard skills. So we need to practice on the things that technology cannot replace.
Human skills.
Yeah, like empathy, negotiation skill, leadership skill, communication skill, public speaking skill. These are the soft skills that I would tell myself to develop.
How about critical thinking? Do you think that it should be like a school subject?
I mean, if you talk about schools, so many subjects are like not up to date. Even MBA, they're still teaching like entrepreneurs to maximize value for the shareholders. The number one rules for starting a company is to maximize shareholders' value. But now we are moving towards maximizing stakeholders' value.
Mm-hmm.
Right? To run a company in a stable, sustainable, in a long-term manner, you have to make sure that you balance demand of many stakeholders group, not just the shareholders. Shareholders is just a subset of all the stakeholders we have to manage. Many of the things at school are outdated.
Even when you read the letter that is CEO of BlackRock sending every year, even those big companies, they are changing the mindset, right? That are trying to invest in more sustainable projects and companies.
You have to integrate your company to the point that you cannot tell the difference if this is a CSR or the company is so valuable. Everybody would be missing your company if your company is no longer operating, right? You have to blend in, be so useful to many stakeholders that everyone is thankful that your company, that you get up to work every day, find your why. We have to redo our teaching. Even many of the universities today, they don't have a climate school, right? The green transition, green supply chain, green human capital skills, which will be the golden age soon. Moving forward, we have to reach net zero. We don't have much time left. Carbon neutrality, green transition, climate technology. Most of the Thai universities now, they only have MBA, business schools. They don't have climate school. If you talk about schools, we have to do a big change.
Almost everything should be changed. And let me ask you, so you believe in purpose-driven organizations. So what are your values? How your values shape the values of your companies?
I'm sure the Maslow hierarchy and pyramid. Once everyone reached to a certain point, they all want to make impact. Right?
Yes.
You need to find the big why. Why do we get up and see each other every day at the office? What is the reason that your company should exist in the world? What is the thing a useful, meaningful thing that nobody else can do much better than your company or a group of people that you gathered here in the office every day. So I think you need to find that big why, and that should link to your passion too. Otherwise, you cannot do it for long. For us here, the mission of the group, of the Bitkub group, is to democratize opportunity for everyone via leading innovations. So we do it via latest technology. We want to create as much premium from the latest technology and democratize the premium to as many people as possible. So the goal is of coming together here is not to create joy, not to create laughters, but to create opportunities, as much opportunities, and democratize them to as many people as possible by leveraging on the latest technology. I think that's the mission of the group. And we do it by having 5 children's company now. And
the last part of my podcast is always about my guests and their personal values. So what are your personal values?
To work hard, to treat people right, to work hard, perseverance, and I believe that if we take action constantly every day, and we constantly learn from our mistakes, and not giving up early, we can achieve anything. So personal values would be perseverance, to treat people right, and to never cut corners, and to make sure you do things that you're proud. You can look at yourself in the mirror once you're old, in a way that you don't feel ashamed when you look at yourself in the mirror, or you don't feel you have regrets. Dare to. I love the concept of daring greatly. Roosevelt. There obviously, when you're doing new things, there are going to be people yelling at you, despising you, or laughing at you. But those are the people on the stand, on the stadium, not the ones playing the game, right? The one taking action. So I think we should ignore the noise and make sure we dare to do things that scares us every day, pushing our comfort zone, making changes, rather than having regrets when we are old. That's my personal value.
It resonates with my values a lot. And my last question or set of questions is always about purpose. So what do you think? What is purpose of life? Because with AI, everything is changing. So what will be the future purpose of the mankind?
I think everyone has different life's purpose. Right? What is the meaning of life? We should define this question. What gives you the meaning of life?
Yes.
That's maybe a better way to ask this question. And it's not one size fits all. It's not the same for everybody. Or what is success? It's not the same for everybody.
Right.
So I don't think I can answer this on behalf of everybody else's. But for me, I just want to look at myself when I'm old, that I live a meaningful, colorful life, with no regrets and no shame.
Thank you so much. It was a wonderful interview. It was
a
pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Topp. And I wish you a lot of luck with your mission. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.